Hey YouTube, it's Cole, and I was just thinking about how before I was a nurse, the idea of a T-shot made me really scared. Because I couldn't imagine sticking myself with a needle. But I have been a nurse now in multiple settings. So I've given shots to children as young as, 3 days old, and up to adults that are 102. And the process is very similar for myself. And I kind of wanted to go through that process. Because I think maybe there's some tips that I learned as a nurse that might take some of that fear out. So my shot's not till Monday, but I thought I could go over this now. Number one rule. You need to do what your doctor tells you to do, okay? This is not because I'm a nurse. I've had this conversation with my doctor. The vials say on them, at least my vial says, for IM injection only, and I'm actually doing sub-Qs, and that's the way my doctor ordered it, and she says that it's fine. And then also, it says one-time use vial. And again, check with your physician, follow what your doctors say. But I was told that, it's good for 28 days after opening. There's some rules about that, okay? And one of those rules is that you're going to need some alcohol pads, okay? Because you can store it in the box it came in, okay? Store it in a dark place, not in a high temperature, not in a cold temperature. And once the safety cap has come off of it, just every time before you're going to give your shot, you're going to just wipe the top with an alcohol wipe just to clean it, okay? Because your needles are sterile, your syringes are sterile, and, if you think about it, once every 28, you change your vial out every 28 days. Most months only have 28 days, so 4 weeks. A month you're going to be doing a shot, so one vial could last you a full month instead of, 4 vials for the month. So, just talk to your doctor about it, make sure they're okay, that kind of stuff. But that's some advice, because that's awesome. Next bit of advice. Things you're going to want to think about. You're going to want to inject your medication as prescribed. Now, like I said, mine is subcutaneous, so it goes into fat, not into muscle, which is great because I have a lot of it in my abdomen. And you can do sub-Q shots. Basically, the idea is an inch outside of your belly button all the way around. I will be rotating sites just because it's a nursing thing that I learned. So on one, my first shot I put on my right side, and this week I'll go on my left. Some things that I think are helpful for to minimize pain. You need to think about room temperature. Don't shoot testosterone cold. I mean, it shouldn't even be stored in the fridge. It should just be at room temp. Make sure all your air bubbles are out, and I'll get to that in a minute because that's a whole different thing. If you've never taken any kind of medication out of a vial, make sure you go to your teaching because with your syringe, you're going to want to actually attach your needle and pull your plunger back to the dose that is set on, on the mark. Mine is a 0.1 ml, so it's let me get these out so I can show you. Oh, can we even see it? I don't know. Might not be able to see it. Because it's just such a tiny dose. So these are 1 ml syringes, and most likely you'll have a 1 ml syringe. And pardon me. Alright. So, 1 ml syringe. So, I am literally putting in 0.1 ml. So, basically where this the black part of the plunger is where it reads 0.1. So, you're going to want to pull the plunger down so that the top of this plunger is actually here. Okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to put air into your vial. And I know you're saying why, right? Air goes into the vial to displace the fluid. So if you just took your syringe without putting air in it and put it into the vial and try to pull fluid out, it's not going to come out. You have to displace what you're going to take out with air. It's the only way you're going to get fluid out of your vial. So, that being said, in my case, I draw up with a 18 gauge 1-inch needle. Always make sure the tip of the needle remains under your fluid. You don't want to be sucking up air and then having to, push it back and draw again. And I mean, it's okay the first few times, but like you just don't want to be doing that. So, my needles, this is the needle I draw with. This is not the needle I give with. So that's an 18 gauge 1-inch needle. It's just to get the testosterone out of the vial. Because it's sub-Q, I actually, I do mine with a 5/8 of an inch. It's a 25 gauge, so it's a lot smaller. You can't really see it in here because of this cap. I was trying to get a good angle at it. And lighting, you can kind of see it. There it is. So it's not as bad. So yeah, my big tips are to only inject medication at room air. Get the air out. Wait until the alcohol dries, because you need to use alcohol on your skin. And if you don't, it's going to burn. Make sure that the needle goes in straight and comes out straight. Like, you don't want to be moving it around. It really doesn't hurt. I mean, there's it's a pinch, it's a needle. Little pinch, but I mean, in my case, I use 2 needles. I use the needle to draw and the needle to give. And the idea behind that is, as soon as you take a brand new needle, it's already sharp, but as soon as you put it through the vial, the rubber on the vial, it dulls it. So you don't want to really stick yourself with a dull needle. It's just a lot more painful. So if your prescriber will write it that way, it's nice to get at least a second needle, even if you're doing an IM, just so that there's an extra needle that's a clean, sterile needle that hasn't been used yet, that you can change it out in between and then stick yourself. Also remember, sharps need to be put into containers. I do not have a actual biomedical container yet. I will get myself one. Currently, I use a Tide bottle. It's a little Tide bottle. It says sharps all over it, so that people know. You're just going to want to put I put my 18 gauge in here, my 1-inch, and then the whole entire syringe with the other needle on it. So, I also keep Band-Aids in my kit because I tend to bleed. At least I did the last time. And hand sanitizer, they suggest hand sanitizer, but I do mine at home, so I just wash my hands first really well. So I think that's that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you. Obviously, don't reuse needles. I made some notes for myself. Don't reuse needles. Always dispose of them. And if you're taking an IM shot, I know this is going to sound hard, especially, if you're afraid of the needle and stuff, because I get it, an IM needle is a lot bigger than a sub-Q. But try to relax that muscle. Try to relax that area that you're going to put it into. And, I hear that it's not so bad for an IM as well. So, I think that's it. And like I said, you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below, and I will get back to you with some answers. So, alright. You guys have a great one. Bye.